Welcome to A New Breed of Golf Live. Excited to be in the Morgan Franklin Transformation Center, helping you play your best golf. And we love being able to give you some insights to assist you with shooting lower scores. There's nothing better than the emails that you're sending to us to let us know how you're improving. So keep them coming. You can send those emails to me at anewbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com. Before I introduce you to the men behind the scene, got to remind you of our things that you can purchase to be part of the community. The first one is our blessed poker chip ball markers. We've got them in 5 different colors. Lavender being my favorite. I love this. Nothing like playing out there, putting that ball marker down there and being able to look back up knowing there's a birdie or a par. Big putt made in your future. So if you want one of these or more, send an email to me at anewbreedofgolf@michaelbreed.com. Let me know what you're interested in. They're $6. They're great. We also have the putter covers and the hats. Lots of different colors on the putter cover here. This one is the white, but we have them in the mallet style. We also have them in the blade style, and then different colored hats. If you want those, just send an email to me and we can get those to you. All right, let me introduce you to the men behind the scenes who are doing it all. And this is my favorite part of the show, where the two boys, Steve Gibbs and Greg, there you are. Yeah, it's just a mess. That's all it is. It's just an absolute mess when these guys get together. But Steve Gibbs and Greg Ducharme always here helping you out. Anytime you have any questions or anything like that, they're cutting all the cameras and getting all your questions. Now, I want to talk to you about the 3 really sort of detrimental moves that you're making that is creating inconsistencies in your game, and solved with a ruler. We're going to solve these 3 issues with a ruler. So a very, very simple thing for you to get. And it's going to be something that you're going to use. And if you use this properly, you're going to be able to understand how to play great golf. All right. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is one of the biggest mistakes that people make is an incorrect grip. And it's specifically understanding how to control that club face. So many times what I see happen with you is that you come into the shot and you have your trail hand on top of the grip. You're almost coming down, and it's like you're stabbing the top of the grip with the palm of your hand, just like that. And what happens is that it alters your posture, it alters your weight distribution, and it creates an open club face. That open club face can create all kinds of problems for you. But also, too, what happens, it gives you, if you go down the line here, when I come in with this hand on top and the open face, what I do is I get my shoulders open, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. And what that tends to do is it invites an out path in the takeaway. And when I get an out path in the takeaway and I get an open club face, now what I do is I bring in the chance for, and I'm not going to hit it, I bring in the chance for hitting a shank. Now that shot, what you're going to see is that's going to move to my right side. It's a very, very weak shot. And one of the reasons why it's a weak shot is as that club is now going outside, what it does is it takes my lead shoulder and drops it down, and I never load the trail heel. And when I don't load the trail heel, now I get into trouble. What I need you to appreciate is the importance of how your hand gets on the club, and then the influences from that. So not only if I go this way, do my shoulders open up, but my weight distribution changes quite a bit, which we're going to talk a little bit about later. But what it also does is it prevents the body to rotate the way we need it to rotate. So here's how the ruler is going to work. So let me put this down. I've taped one side here, so you can see I've put some tape on the top there. You can see that there. What I want you to do is when you get set up and you're holding this way, I want you to feel like your palm is going to touch the back side of that right there. So if I go like that, my palm is going to match up there. And now my thumb is going to be kind of going down the top of that ruler along the line of that black tape, just like that. Now, when I get into there, now all of a sudden what happens is that ruler is square. If I come in like this, and I get this more through the crease of the fingers, when I get like that, now all of a sudden that grip gets open. And the ruler, now you can see the tan part of the ruler underneath there. But when I come in like this, and I go like that, you can't see the tan part of the ruler. It's a fascinating thing how that works. So now you get used to that sitting right in the crease of where the fingers meet the palm. That's where the ruler sits, right there where that, yeah, let me hold that there. So that goes right there, and now your palm is going to match up beautifully. Now, you take that feel and put it into the grip. So when we hold this club that way, now I put that right at the base of the fingers right there. Now all of a sudden, my palm and the club face are matched up beautifully. Yeah, there's a great shot right there. So now, when I bring that in there, and go down the line if you would, Gibbsy. Try to get close in there if you could, because I want to show what the right hand looks like. So maybe you could just take that, just go close right in. Just keep going close in. There you go. Terrific. Right there. Perfect. All right, now what you can see is that the handle of the club is coming sort of out of the pad of the hand. If I take my fingers and I get it in on top, now you can see there's space in between my wrist, forearm, and the grip itself. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking like this. Well, when I get it in the spot that I want, now all of a sudden that disappears, and it almost appears as if the forearm and the grip are in the same line. So that's a really important part of grabbing the club correctly. And now when we get in here, now all of a sudden you're going to feel a very, very stable position with the trail hand. Now what you're going to get is you're going to get a much straighter shot, but what you're going to eliminate is the shot that moves to the right-hand side. You're not going to get a lot of right push or cut shots or slices, all because of how you put your hand on the club there. So using that ruler, find where the fingers meet the palm, and then you put the base of that ruler in there. You'll feel that. Then transition over to the grip itself. You'll feel that grip sit in there beautifully, really comfortably. And the other thing that you're going to notice is that the lead thumb is going to sit right in the pocket of that trail hand. And then once you have that, I'm going to go ahead and hit another one because that felt really good. Once you get that, now all of a sudden, you don't have to grip this club quite so tightly. And then the club is just going to move back beautifully. This one actually, I put a little bit more power in, and I got that ball to turn over to the left-hand side. So very good. So make sure that you understand that you've got the grip correctly positioned, and that ruler is going to help you. Now, I talked to you before about how the influence of the grip now gets into the shoulders, because when we get that in the down the line view there, Gibbsy, when that trail hand gets on top of the grip, now all of a sudden my shoulders are going to get open. So you're going to see a lot of that ruler here. You're not going to see any part of the front side of my shoulder or even my bicep or tricep. When I get this grip held correctly and I'm underneath here, now all of a sudden you can see this part of the ruler. The shoulders are going to be square to possibly closed, but they're not going to be open. So when the shoulders get here, now all of a sudden I can make a really nice turn. And my shoulders, if you go face on now, my shoulders are going to turn a little bit more level. You'll see a little bit of a glide in the head there. When I turn back, you can see how my head just moves along. There's that, just grab a spot, say in the A where the Morgan Franklin is. And when I turn this way, you can see it drift back to the F in Morgan Franklin. So there's a little bit of a movement to the head when I turn properly. If I have open shoulders and I drop down this way, now my head goes forward. And I've never loaded that trail heel. So what we do is we check the shoulder line. It's one of the most important things that you can do. And again, I'm going to talk to you about how this affects your weight distribution at address. So I start by checking and making sure that that grip is correct. And then what I'm going to do in the down the line view is make sure that my shoulders are square here. And when my shoulders get square, you can just see a little bit of the lead arm above the trail arm. When I get weak, now it's underneath. Here, it's on top. And now what I get is I get a really good delivery again, and this time the trajectory goes up because the club is now coming in from a shallower path. There are many of you that are swinging into the club and you're digging these trenches way steep down into that. What you want to make sure of is that your shoulders get square. That will help eliminate that problem because your shoulders are now going to turn the proper way. Instead of seesawing this way, they're going to rotate back and you're going to load that trail heel, okay? I'll just try one more here. So again, I focus on that grip first. Now I make sure that I've got my shoulders set in the right position, which is going to feel a little bit closed for many of you. And now I just load that trail heel, and all of a sudden, I've got a very nice start to that golf ball. Starts out to the push side there. I got to turn it back to the left, which I'm going to do in just a second. But the point being this, that in order for you to get the draw in your game, to get the distance in your game, you got to load that trail heel. And the way you do that is setting those shoulders in the right position. And the shoulders get set in the right position because of how you hold the club. Now, the final part of this is weight distribution in your feet. What you want is you want two things. You want it to be consistent with heel and toe weight. In other words, when you get set up, I don't want you have to go down the line here, Gibbsy, on this one. If you get set up, what you're going to see is and back out just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. What you can see in the open position is a tremendous amount of knee flex that I have in my trail leg, not as much in the lead leg. What you can't see is there's a lot of weight in the toes of the trail foot and a lot more weight in the heel of the lead foot. When I get set up correctly and I have the weight sort of the same amount in my right foot as my left foot from heel to toe, now all of a sudden when you go to that close-up shot again, now what you're going to see is you can see part of that lead leg. So if I put that back there, you can see the lead leg. If I get set up where I'm open with my shoulders, now that lead leg disappears. When we get it set up this way, now I'm in the right spot. So I have the same amount of heel weight in both feet and the same amount of toe weight in both feet. So that's one of the things that you want to do. And then the other thing that you want to do is you want to understand proper weight distribution toe to heel. Now, I had an individual that came for a lesson a few weeks ago, and she had lost her golf swing. She said to me, Michael, I'm making poor contact. I'm hitting it out on the toe, and I don't know why. All of her weight distribution was out on the toes at address. And I said to her, where do you think you want your weight distribution at address? She said, I want it in the balls of the feet. That is not correct. You don't want the weight in the balls of the feet. You want the weight in the heels. You want the weight more towards the heels, in the arches. So get it off the balls of the feet, get it more towards the heel, and get it in the arches. And when you get it in the arches, now all of a sudden, the weight can move properly in the feet. So the way you teach yourself is you take this ruler, make sure you have the tape on there, and you put that ruler down like that. Now, the reason why it sits on the ground is twofold. One, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my toes or the balls of my feet, go down the line on this one, Gibbsy. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it, you can see it right there. It's right on the balls of the feet, right where the toes and the feet meet. And what I want to feel is I want to feel like it's forcing me into my heels. So what I'm going to do is in the address position, and I'm not going to swing from here, I'm just going to feel what it feels like to get a little bit of weight thrown into the heels. I don't want to compress out onto that ruler. I want to lean back into here. And as I do that, now all of a sudden, I've got a chance to load the trail heel, drive through with a solid strike, okay? Now, the second part of this ruler on the ground is this. Again, down the line if you could. So what we're going to get is, now I can get a feeling of, okay, where are my shoulders relative to the ruler on the ground? I want my shoulders to feel like they're square to that, so I can now check that with my eyes. I can see, okay, you know what, my trail shoulder, my lead shoulder, they look like they're about the same distance from that ruler. And yeah, and I can now see that forward part of the lead shoulder. So now I know that I'm squared up. So now what I'm getting is I'm getting a really nice delivery, and that ball is going right towards my target. So after you've done all that, this ruler is going to be a huge advantage for you. I would put one in your bag. That's what I would do. I would put one in your bag, tape it up. I know a lot of people like to use the alignment sticks, and they're great. But I think that this yardstick is fabulous. So now what you do is you get this. You get set in there. You have an awareness of what's going on with your grip. You have an awareness of what's going on with your shoulders, and you feel that weight distribution in your feet. More towards the heels, away from the balls of the feet, more towards the heels, and then go ahead. And what you can see is now all of a sudden I can hit a shot that's got a little bit of left turn to it, tracks right down the line that I want. This particular shot had about 29 RPMs. Let's come on up to the front. That one there had about 29 RPMs of left spin to it. You can see that L right there. So what that means is I had a nice little soft little draw. Greg, can you do me a favor and put a trace on that? What I also got was I got a ball that started just a little bit to the right. And in effect, go ahead and pull that shot up. You can see that's a relatively straight shot with any desire at all. The desire is it's going to move to the left-hand side. So what this means is the following. You're trying to find your golf swing. You're 1 yardstick away, right here, just like that. You're 1 yardstick away. Just go get yourself one of these. I advise putting some tape on this for a variety of reasons, including you're not going to get a little like a splinter from this as you're sliding it in and out of the bag or whatever. So the tape really helps. But also, too, when you start swinging on it, that tape on there is going to assist you with not slipping all over the ruler. So you get yourself a yardstick. Get yourself this yardstick. And what's going to happen is that it's going to improve your game. It's going to help you with your grip. It's going to remind you how to put your hands on the club. And then it's also going to remind you of what you do with your shoulders and what you do with your weight distribution. When you start to go down that path, you're going to have some real success, okay? Before we turn this down, Greg, I just not sure whether there's a question that you've got or somebody has about what we've talked about.
What is the most important element in the setup position that you can do to make a change to a contact? You love this one, a contact point that comes off the toe.
So it's great. And again, it has to do with how the body moves through the strike. Really interesting. So when we set ourselves in a poor position, so let's go down the line again. I set myself in a poor position. So I've got my shoulders that are open. My grip is coming on top of that grip, and I've got weight out on the toes. What I'm going to tend to do when I come through the shot is I'm going to stand up. And when I stand up, that handle's going to rise, which means the toe is going to sink, which is going to put the toe in the ground. I'm going to hit it off the toe. When you start to be able to move your body correctly, from a weight distribution standpoint and also, too, from a shoulder standpoint, now the club is going to be able to come into the golf ball from the inside, but more importantly, the heel is going to be low. It's not going to be rising. The handle is going to be low. It's not going to be rising. And those two elements are going to allow for you to get a much more centered strike and have the toe and the heel be at the same height as they come into the golf ball. Very interesting question. So putting that grip in the right spot in the trail hand, making sure those shoulders are correct and the weight distribution is correct. Now what you're going to get is you're going to get a really good strike in the center of the club face. We got to reset that thing. So you're going to get a really good strike in the center of the club face, and you'll get away from those toe hits, which many of you are struggling with. All right, listen, I want to remind you all and let you know if you want to be part of the community with some of the things we've got, the ball marker, that's only $6. Get those emails to me at newbury2golf@michaelbreed.com. We also have the putter covers in both the mallet and in the blade, and you can get a hat, which has been really, really popular. The hats have been they're like hotcakes, which is a saying that I love. Any questions that you got, any topics that you've got, send those emails to me at newbury2golf@michaelbreed.com. Put whatever questions that you've got. We'll make it a topic on our shows and make sure that we let you know what's going on. And also, too, I invite you to join the community. If you haven't joined our community, please join the community, be a part of what we're doing. We're trying to bring live golf to you that you can ask questions and get to us those questions in a live forum so we can get back to you and we can interact, which is one of the most fun things that we can do. You can do that by being part of that community, and we'll let you know when we're doing these instructional pieces here, which we're trying to do every single Thursday to help you play your best golf. I would be nowhere without these two gentlemen, Steve Gibbs and Greg Ducharme. Special thanks to those guys who went team colors today. They did Navy, and by the way, they're starting to flaunt it now. They're actually getting the shake down. That's nice. I can't wait to see what we get next week. In the meantime, I'm Michael Breed. Thanks so much for joining us in all the things that we're doing, and make sure you join me on A Newbury to Golf on Sirius XM Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 Eastern. Have a great day.